Whether your goal is to get all nines, maybe just one nine, straight sevens, or just a couple of sixes, I'm sure with these 5 tips you can definitely achieve that, and in the easiest way possible. Watch this video to find out how. 3 years ago I was in your guys' position, and I definitely wish I knew these tips, because this would have made my life a lot less stressful, and I would have been able to go into GCSEs with a lot more confident feeling, and I think with these tips you can definitely achieve that. The first step to increasing any of your GCSE grades is definitely prioritising the subjects which are below pass level and the subjects which you want to do the best in. Most people finish high school or secondary school with about 10 GCSE qualifications. In my opinion, that's a lot, and you can't prioritise all of them. 1, because you might be disorganised, and 2, because that's a lot of volume regardless if you're organised or not. So I think prioritising the subjects you want to do the best in will definitely make sure that you do that, and the ones which are below pass will definitely make sure that you get them high enough. And the ones in the middle, which are the ones you don't really care about, or the ones that are already at a pass level, you can kind of put on the back burner whilst you excel where you want to excel, and make sure you don't have anything dragging you down. I'll definitely make a video on making a timetable, because this is exactly how you visualize your prioritization. You allocate more time to the ones which you want to excel in and bring up, and less time in the ones which are already secure or you don't care too much about. If anybody's planning on going into a academic intensive course in university, I'll definitely make sure you bump up your maths to at least a 6 and your English language to at least a 6, because as I found out, if I didn't get a 6 in my English language, which I thankfully did, I wouldn't have been able to do the course I actually wanted to do nationwide. So make sure you get English language and maths covered. Tip number 2, following on from making your timetable with the subjects which you're prioritizing, you also want to print out your syllabus for these subjects, and red, green and orange every single one of the syllabus objectives. What this will do is it will show you exactly where your weaknesses are in these important subjects, and show you exactly where your strengths are. And what you'll do is you'll focus most of your time on your weaknesses, so you can increase your grade by the biggest amount and be very time efficient with your revision. So revise less and learn even more. I think with this tip I definitely could have bumped up my maths grade, because I didn't exactly know where my weaknesses were until it was right in front of me on the test paper. I think that this was definitely where I saw a lack in organisation, and I don't want you guys to fall under the same trap. Tip number 3 will be practice little and often. The science behind this is that when you learn something, there's something called a forgetting curve. And to break this curve, you need to actually revisit or review the information that you learn. And then this will put your knowledge back up to 100% and decrease the gradient of the forgetting curve. And so you can review it at the same point, but a lot later. For example, before you had to review it after a day, but on your second review, you can review it after 2 days. What this will do is this will spread out the amount of revision you need to do, and will also make sure you're constantly remembering what you've learned. And you can do this using active recall via flashcards or practice questions, and spaced repetition by spacing out the amount of times you revise the same thing, and your timetable will definitely help you do that. So little and often, consistently, will definitely help you remember the most information, and make sure you spend as little time revising as possible. Oh guys, I was just reading this book and it says, if you like the video and subscribe, you'll get a 9 in your favourite subject on results day. How crazy is that? This next tip is something I attribute completely to my grade in chemistry in college, and is to use YouTube literally as another teacher. See, my chemistry teachers at college were amazing. They were both so good. But through using YouTube, I essentially had 4 teachers, 2 in person and 2 on YouTube, who I could use at any moment explaining the things which I don't understand when I don't have access to my teachers. And the great thing about YouTube is that it's visual. You can see exactly what they're explaining when they explain it on a whiteboard or electronically draw it on the screen. And I think YouTube is such a hidden gem for learning. And if I had this during GCSEs, for example, I definitely would have used it for things like maths, even my sciences, especially chemistry, which I found particularly difficult in high school. And I think YouTube's so great because there are so many teachers on YouTube. And the limitation of teachers in person is that sometimes you only have the option of one chemistry teacher. But on YouTube, there are like 50 chemistry teachers for GCSE, and you can go through all of them, see who personality or who has the best teaching method that suits you, and you can watch their videos and get even more value from their teaching, potentially more than the teachers who you have at school. So definitely don't sleep on YouTube. My last tip, and probably the most significant tip I'd give you guys, is that find someone who is as dedicated as you to getting a good grade in a specific subject, and then work with them as a study partner. What this will do is, this will provide you motivation because you don't want to get left in the dust by your study partner. More importantly, this will make revision less of a chore because you're doing it with somebody else. And I found this really important during college as well, because I hated revising psychology. But when I was revising with my study partner, this made it fun because you would talk about the subject, you'd get their insight on it, and because you were doing it with somebody, it didn't feel like the burden was on you to revise. It was kind of something which you could do together, and this made study sessions go a lot faster. Another really good thing about having a study partner is when you agree to meet at a certain time to revise, you're much less likely to procrastinate and not go and meet them. So what this will do is this will help keep you accountable and help keep you on track for what you've planned. And especially during GCSEs where discipline might not be your strongest point yet, this is definitely a great way of building it, and this is a great way of getting work done without feeling like it's actually work. Cheeky tip to add on that, find someone who's actually better than you at that subject, so then you're constantly learning. But it doesn't really matter. Either way, you'll do a lot more work than you were to do by yourself. But if you can, try find someone smarter than you. But if you can't, that's still fine, because another great way of learning is actually teaching. And if you're constantly explaining someone a concept, for example, then you yourself need to have a really good understanding of that concept to be able to explain it properly. And if you don't, then you know exactly where your holes are in that concept, and you know exactly where to go revise and read your textbook to fill that hole, so then you can teach properly. So both sides of the coin win, but I just prefer being the dumber one in the partnership. Even if you guys follow one of these tips, there's no way you don't increase a whole grade in at least one subject. But if you follow all 5, then I don't see why you can't increase 2 grades in at least 3 subjects. Because honestly, if I had these tips, I would have breezed through GCSEs, and now you guys have 4.5 months to put them into action. So don't be lazy, get to work, move towards your goal 1% at a time, and you got this. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Share the video to anybody sitting GCSE soon, or to any year 10s, or to any family members, just to anybody who this video applies to. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.